I wasn't expecting you guys to enjoy when I overanalyze things, but apparently you do. Hey yeah, what's up y'all? This is Angel, and today I am bringing you a brand new Ninjago video. Today we are going to be doing a deep dive into Jay and Nya's relationship. And when I say deep, I mean like the ocean. We're basically gonna go scuba diving. So, a few days ago, I was having some thoughts about Jaya's breakup back in Rebooted, and I decided to tweet them all out. The final result was an 18 tweet long thread that analyzed not only the breakup, but the circumstances that led to it and what they managed to fix so they could become what they are today. To be quite honest, I wasn't really expecting any approval from my followers. I just posted it because I was rambling, and sometimes rambling helps me organize my ideas better. But you guys ate that up. And some people even requested that I should do a video on it, and that's what we're doing today. So without further ado, let's get analytical, baby. So, before we talk about specifically what went wrong the first time, we should first mention how their relationship used to be back in those days. As we know, Jay and Nya are the original couple of Ninjago. They have been established as each other's romantic interests ever since the pilot. The writers decided to go for the love at first sight route with these two, and this is something that I will be bringing up later on because I believe it did have an influence on how things turned out between them. In their earlier days, the romantic interest was more noticeable from Jay's side, as he was the one who would often be shown admiring her or complimenting her every time she did something cool and just being mesmerized and sometimes distracted by her. And whilst Nya wasn't very outwardly expressive with her interest, I believe that it was still there. At the very least, she was still receptive, and we can see that on how easily she accepts to go out with him on a date when he finally has the courage to ask her. In order to pull this off, Jay basically gives himself a full makeover. He puts on perfume and he offers to take her to a big fancy restaurant. And he himself admits that he does this so that he can impress her. In the date, we see him enhancing his accomplishments and even making some of them up in order to further cause a good impression on her. Why is he doing all this? Well, one thing we find out about Jay from one episode in the first season is that his parents are quite humble people. There's nothing really flashy about them, and he was born in a junkyard. So his wealth doesn't impress, and neither does his social status. And for some reason, these things make him feel insecure and embarrassed of himself. It's like he needs to make himself more desirable in order for Nya to actually be interested in him. What this tells us is that Jay has a low self-esteem, basically. That's what he struggles with. He's a very insecure person and he doesn't quite accept himself the way he is. But when things get bad and they both get stuck in that roller coaster because the serpentine put them there, Jay ends up admitting that a lot of the stuff he said wasn't true, and Nya just tells him that he doesn't need to make anything up in order to make himself look better because she appreciates him just the way he is. And this is something that Jay really needed to hear because next thing we know, he's unlocked his full potential. So his biggest mental enemy was his insecurity. But now, because of Nya's words, he feels he is worthy of love just the way he is, and he realizes the importance of being honest and genuine. Now, I believe there isn't all that much development between them in season 2, but they do have some cute scenes that showcase just how much they care for each other. But then Rebooted comes around, and this is where things start to go sour for these two. On a surface level, some of you would probably say that the reason that they broke up was because of Nya's newfound interest in coal, right? Well, I have a theory regarding that. Even before the love triangle shenanigans started, there was this scene that suggested that there was some trouble in Jay and Nya's relationship. In this scene, Jay offers Nya some pudding that he specifically saved for her, which is nothing more than a gesture of affection, right? Well, Nya refuses it by bringing up a previous talk that they've had about boundaries. Now, we all know that boundaries are for stopping people from crossing certain lines and doing things that make us uncomfortable. And I bet you guys could say, well, it was just some pudding. Why would Nya be uncomfortable with people offering her pudding? Well, the implication that they've had that conversation before suggests that Nya is just overall displeased with Jay's attitude in the relationship, and the pudding thing was just another one of those moments that she didn't really like. And I'll back this up by bringing in another line of dialogue that I found interesting. In the moment where it is revealed that Nya has a secret cave, Jay says, "I thought we knew everything about each other," and Nya responds with, "Well, a girl's gotta have her secrets." I think these two quotes perfectly sum up what is actually going on between them. The problem is they are not on the same page. If they were reading a book called Commitment, Jay would already be finishing up the story and Nya would still be stuck reading a synopsis. In other words, Jay really does believe in his love for Nya and he requires openness between them, which is completely reasonable because it is something that couples need in order to be successful. However, Nya isn't quite ready to take that leap yet. Since we've already discussed Jay's background and his insecurities and how it blocked his growth, let's now see what Nya has going on for herself. Now, her case is extremely different from Jay's. Nya grew up without parents. They were taken away from her at a very young age. She and Kai had to grow up on their own and just learn how to manage by themselves. Because of this, Nya learned that you can lose the people you love without being able to do anything about it and that the world is a cruel place. So the mindset that she developed in order to adapt to the world around her was this one: I must be strong and I must be in control. I cannot let myself be vulnerable and I cannot give myself away easily because that way I will get hurt. By taking this into consideration, I believe it becomes easier for you to understand why Nya is not that outwardly expressive with her affections for others and why she even seems uninterested when she's really not. Not only is she afraid to lose them in case she gets too close to them, she's also afraid that people will gain her trust and then throw her under the bus with the information that they have about her. And since they experienced love at first sight, they never got to see each other as friends. They were already love interests from the start. People will often say that in order to have love, you need to have friendship first, because friendship is what allows you to know what the other person is about. When you're crushing on somebody without having been their friend first, you basically skip that step. And so when you get into a relationship, you have to not only do that and actually get to know the person, but also learn how to be in a relationship with them at the same time, which can be quite tricky. So Nya doesn't know Jay that well, and Jay doesn't know Nya as well as he thinks he does, because there are things that she's not telling him because she simply doesn't feel ready to. Now, all the perfect match machine did was fuel this belief in Nya that her relationship with Jay is going to fail by telling her that Cole is the more compatible one with her. Now, I'm not really a relationship expert. In fact, I've literally never been in one. But her awkwardness when she interacts with Cole in this season doesn't strike me as a type of "I'm crushing on you" awkwardness. It feels kind of forced to me. It feels to me as if Nya was forcing herself to see if she has any interest in Cole, or rather, trying to find reasons why she should hop out of her relationship with Jay. To further cement this theory, I am going to reference a dialogue that she has with Misako when she talks to her about the situation that she's in. First off, Nya goes on to list the things that she likes about Jay, and she actually mentions his humor. She says that he makes her laugh. But when it comes to Cole, she just says that he's not Jay. So basically, Nya isn't really choosing between Jay and Cole. She's choosing between Jay and not Jay. In other words, she's choosing between staying in a relationship with the guy that she actually likes, even though she doesn't have much faith in it and she's scared to get hurt, or just hop out before things get ugly and she does get hurt. Perfect match thing is just kind of an easy escape for her so that she can evade the relationship without having to open up to Jay about how she truly feels. Well, is it right to leave your partner in the dark like this? No, but I am going to cut Nya some slack because I can sympathize with her in this regard. She's young, she's unexperienced, she's never been in a relationship before, and neither has Jay, and he has his faults too. But I will get to that later because they become especially evident in a future season. Alright, now we have Tournament of Elements. In this season, Jay and Nya are no longer together, but there are still some scenes here and there that suggest that their mutual attraction isn't really gone. So here, Jay is still upset with Cole because of the love triangle thing, but according to Lloyd, Nya still speaks of Jay. We have a scene where Nya talks to Master Wu about the debate going on inside her head on whether she should choose Jay or Cole. He points out the pros and cons of each of the guys. For Jay, she says she finds him cute, funny, and that she's always laughing around him, but he makes everything about himself and he doesn't really take her seriously. Before you guys begin screaming at Nya and insulting her, please hold on because I am going to explain this later. However, I do not buy what she said about Cole. Honey, what the fuck do you mean you connect with him on a deeper level? You barely spend time one-on-one with him. But anyways, I digress. What I want to talk about is the scene where Jay and Cole make up. They have a little heart-to-heart honest moment there, and what Jay says is that he blames himself for losing Nya. Now, we have to remember that Jay doesn't know Nya's true reasons for the breakup, so he just assumes that he was the one who messed up. But why does he think this? It goes back to his insecurities. Like I said before, Jay has a low self-esteem. Nya was the one who told him he was good enough as he was, but in his head, if he managed to mess things up with Nya, then he's probably really not all that good. However, he didn't admit this to himself at first and decided to just take it out on Cole because this is a painful reality that he doesn't want to face. Once again, you shouldn't do things this way. It is not right and it isn't healthy to take out your frustrations on someone because you're going through some shit internally. But this is a mistake that people make when they're young and immature. Heck, even experienced adults can do this. So let's just be fair with these characters, shall we? At this point, what I believe is happening is that Jay's growth in the area of, self-acceptance and self-esteem has reversed due to the breakup. That's how it impacted him. One thing I found funny though was how Jay said, "Love is like war, Nya. Everybody gets hurt." Listen, I know what he meant by this. I know that he was probably talking about, like how he's in love with Nya and he was also at war with Cole, and both were situations that hurt him, clearly. But this is some kind of shit that I would imagine depressed, crystallized Jay saying, not this Jay. But anyways, let's keep going. Next up is Possession, and this is the season where for the first time I feel like Jay and Nya are genuinely trying to interact with each other as just friends. Nya has a lot of stuff going on for her this season, way too much for her to be focusing on romance, but I would like to point out that the fact that her biggest fear was revealed to be failure does make you understand why she hopped out of her relationship with Jay since she felt it was doomed to fail. As for Jay, it makes sense that he's no longer trying all that hard to pursue her. He's probably just lost hope that he's ever going to get another chance since he messed it up the first time. He's trying to move on and just stay friends with Nya because he feels like he's not worthy of being more. But then his future reflection at the first Spinjitzu Master's tomb hits him with a big old psych! He sees an older version of himself with an eye patch and with Nya by his side. Now we've reached the most substantial part. Skybound. Now I need you guys to bear with me. Grab some popcorn if you want because, oh boy, there's a lot to unpack here. Let's get some context. Nya is now a certified member of the team and she's a master of water. But the people of Ninjago don't really take her seriously. They don't give her the recognition she deserves for her accomplishments and what she did for the city. They are just jealous of her because she gets to be with the guys. And Dareth decided to be misogynistic for some fucking reason. And the interviewers only ever ask Nya about her relationships with either Cole or Jay. How does she feel about all of this? She's annoyed. She's upset, okay? And she has every right to be because imagine if people don't take you seriously and treat you differently from your colleagues just because of your fucking gender. Of course, the guys do view her as an equal, but They don't really understand her on a deeper level because they aren't women themselves. I know I'm insisting a bit too much on this, but I just want to say that I really enjoy how Ninjago doesn't shy away from talking about topics such as misogyny. Anyways, back to the subject. It is clear that Nya is letting out all this frustration on Jay especially. Every time romance in her life is brought up, she immediately shuts down those questions by saying that neither Jay or Cole have a chance. And this leaves Jay very confused because how is he supposed to end up with her if she's making it painfully clear that she doesn't want anything to do with him? After the ninja break out of Cryptarium and Jay and Nya disguise themselves as police officers when they're going to get lunch, Jay pulls out another one of his gentleman-like moves. This actually reminds me of the putting scene in Rebooted. Doing a small sweet gesture, but she sees an implication behind it that she doesn't like. This time, she calmly explains the situation to him. She says that she doesn't want her identity defined by someone other than herself, so that's why she prefers to stay on a solo ride. He says he understands, but then the next thing he does is make a wish with Narakan. And get this, what did he wish for? To be rich. He is basically going back to the same old habits that he had back in season 1 with his tactics to impress Nya. This only goes to further show how much of a blow his self-esteem suffered because of the breakup. And later on, when he's talking to Cole at the Cliff Garden mansion, he actually says that nothing he ever does will impress Nya, so that's why he made the wish. And they get to the Tiger Widow Island with two teammates lost, and that's when Jay gets exposed by Cole about how he has already seen Narakan before and that he made wishes to get Nya back. Understandably, Nya is angry with him for this. If you think that she and the guys are being too harsh on Jay, well, that's your opinion. But I do want to ask you to please empathize with her as well because how would you feel if somebody had just gone against your will like that, even though they told you that they would respect it? You really wouldn't like it much, would you? Jay gets nominated to get the Venom, and then he ends up getting captured, and his teammates are very concerned about him, especially Nya. Like she's extremely nervous. And whilst they try and make a plan to have Jay back, he is getting tortured up there with the pirates, and Narakan actually uses his own insecurities as a weapon against Jay to make him give in. Then the ninja infiltrate the pirate ship, and there's a battle between them and the pirates, which leaves only Nya and Jay alone. They are the only ones that haven't been caught. And this brings me to what I think is the most crucial episode that was really a turning point for the relationship between these two. And it is the last resort, the one that they spend in the lighthouse. And one scene between them that really was essential, in my opinion, was the one where Nya finally opened up about how she feels and she didn't hold anything back. So the problem is that she feels trapped in a sense. She feels like neither Narakan nor Jay are actually respecting her will or even considering how she feels. Of course, Narakan is more forceful about it, though. Remember when I said that Jay also had his faults in the relationship? This is what it was. He has been so focused on getting her back because that was what he wanted that he didn't even stop for a moment to think about what Nya wanted. And all that she wants is just to have control, to have freedom of choice to decide what she does with her future. And now that Jay finally knows what's going on inside her mind, he asks her, "What do you want to be?" This was great growth for him because now he's not only thinking of his own desires, he's also taking into consideration what Nya wants for herself, actually listening to her and letting her have a say. The main reason their relationship didn't work out in the first place was because Jay was moving way too fast for Nya. But now that he's aware of how she feels, he can adjust himself to her and he can let her select the pace that she wants. He can now put her needs above his own, but not instead of his own. This big obstacle between them is gone, and now Nya knows that if she wants to try again, which is why she says that she believes that Jay and her will end up together, it will most likely work this time. This nicely leads me onto the portal scene. Let's break it down because it does reveal quite some things. First, we get to know that the reason Nya let Jay into her heart is because he is someone who sticks to his word. This makes him a reliable and trustworthy person. Nya may be strong, but sometimes her strength will falter, and in those moments, she knows that she can come to Jay and that he will lift her up. For someone who has such a big complex with vulnerability like Nya does, this is extremely important. Not only that their partner lets them have control, but also that when they feel like they're losing it, their partner will be there for them. We also get to know that apparently, even before Jay saw their future together, Nya had already seen it the first time they met. And she says that because he's the one with the wish, he should be the one to be saved at that time, and that she expects him to be able to save her from the wedding. And that is what he attempts to do. He saves all of his friends and he gets her back, but then she dies. So he uses his last wish to reverse time, and when they're back at the moment where Nya was supposed to take his hand in the hospital roof, she now does accept it and she kisses him in front of the cameras. Now, this is another moment of growth. Not only does she learn that having a boyfriend doesn't stop her from having her own identity, she is also now showing her love in a more outwardly noticeable way. This is something that is showcased in the future seasons of them being together. Nya hasn't said I love you to his face just yet, but she is more expressive with physical touch and the way she always sacrifices herself for him if she has to, with no hesitance. And she also likes to spend quality time with him. She also has moments of vulnerability around him, showing that now she's comfortable telling him how she truly feels. Examples of this are that one scene in Hands of Time where she's putting away her Samurai X stuff and she confesses to Jay how hard it is for her to let go of her identity. Skybound, she expresses her fears about how her crazy powers might interfere with the mission, and Jay reassures her. And sometimes she also seeks guidance from him. Like in Prime Empire, after they lose Lloyd, she asks him what they're going to do. This shows you how much she trusts him now. I mean, she even says it when they're about to attempt a dance move they've never done before. As for Jay, I believe he got better at listening to her, and he's really no longer pretending to be someone he's not just to cause her a good impression. Okay, now that I don't have anything specific to point out in any season, I would like to give you some closing thoughts. So, in conclusion, Jaya, despite not having the strongest and healthiest start, is definitely a couple that worked very hard on fixing their issues so that they could become solid like they are today. I genuinely think that no other canon couple in this show can compare to them. Not only have they had amazing development, the struggles that they went through are also quite relatable. And I believe that is why people like them so much and they're so popular in the fandom. And though I wouldn't call them underrated, I would definitely say that they seem underappreciated and overhated to me. Despite being one of the most liked ships, I don't really see many people just talking about how good they are, and I actually see some people saying that they're meh. And I am truly astounded by the amount of people that have called them toxic. If you're saying that about early Jaya, I would understand, but as they are right now, no, honey, they're like one of the healthiest ships I've ever seen. What I find interesting about these comments is that they always come in pairs with Nya hate. Nobody seems to have a problem with Jay. Nya is the abusive one. And to justify this, they reference the love triangle, which happened many seasons ago and does not apply to what they are today. They will also take the moments in which Nya rolls her eyes at Jay when he's doing something dumb in the middle of a mission and call that emotional abuse. They will say that she does it because she doesn't love him and she does not like his jokes. In reality, she's really just getting Jay to focus because we all know that he has a tendency to get distracted very easily. I actually think that sometimes Nya is the one that grounds him. Like, how can you look at the way she reacted to being proposed to be his Yang and say she doesn't love him? Then how do you explain all the times she willingly and without any hesitation sacrificed herself for him? She even gave up her humanity and became the goddamn sea just so that she could save him and the rest of Ninjago, for fuck's sake. How do you justify her wanting to take dance lessons with him and then repaying him by doing something that he likes? Is that stuff that people tend to do when they don't care about somebody? I don't think so. If you just don't like Jaya, that's completely fine. But I think it would be a lot better for you to just say that you don't like them or say that you prefer to see Jay with somebody else instead of throwing terms around such as toxic and abusive because those are serious things and they shouldn't be thrown around so loosely. But oh well, I highly doubt I'm gonna change anybody's mind with this, so yeah. Anyways, this has been my very deep dive into Jay and Nya's relationship. Thank you so much for watching and staying until the end if you did. This took me quite a while to make, so I really hope that you enjoyed it. I will leave the link to the Twitter thread in the description of the video if you want to check it out. And while you're at it, you can also follow me on social media if you'd like. You may now go on with your day. I hope it goes great, and maybe we'll see each other in a future essay I make. Bye!